Hello everyone. I've been seeing this question a lot lately. I'm asked this question by friends, I'm asked this question by family members, and I'm asked this question by random people on the internet, and I see a lot of YouTube videos with this. And of course there's always that common pattern. The question is always directed against libertarians. It's never asked of Republicans, it's never asked of Democrats. But the question is, why do you bother voting? Don't you know that the votes are rigged? Don't you know that there's so much election fraud? Don't you know that there's so much going on that no matter if you vote or not, it's not going to matter? And I just think it's really funny because nobody's asking people voting for Mitt Romney, why are you voting for Mitt Romney? It's not going to matter. No one's asking Obama supporters, why are you voting for Obama? It's not going to matter because the election is already rigged. Nobody's doing that. But they always want to cast doubts into the minds of libertarians, into the minds of people who go against the status quo. But I just want to counter the question with a couple of the questions. And the question being, why do you get involved in the electoral process when you know it's rigged, when you know there's so much fraud, and in the end your vote isn't going to matter? First of all, when you have millions of people all saying, my vote doesn't matter, and it's insignificant, when millions and millions of people are saying this, doesn't that tell you something? Isn't it possible that the reason our votes don't matter is because we don't cast them? Isn't it possible that if millions of people would get over their apathy and their self-pity, that maybe change would take place? Why do we wonder why nothing changes when we refuse to advocate that change? They conducted a study recently. There was a survey conducted, I forget how long ago it was, but there was 147 nations. 147 nations that had free and open elections. Anybody could vote to elect a public official. The United States ranked at 117th out of 147 for voter turnout. And we wonder why nothing changes. Nothing changes because people don't care. Another question I want to ask, though, is why is it that people who don't vote, who choose not to vote, and you know, if you truly, honestly believe in your heart, your vote's not going to make a difference, you don't want to cast a vote, you don't maybe have a candidate that you respect, you believe that the system is rigged, that the results are predetermined, and if you have no reason to vote, then go ahead and stay home. But why does it hurt you that I vote? Why are you, if voting doesn't matter and it's so insignificant, then why do you spend your time and energy trying to convince me, trying to persuade me to not vote, just like you're not voting? What do you gain from that? What do you gain exactly? This is something I've never understood. If you don't vote, you don't vote. I'm not going to judge someone for that. I mean, my gosh, there is so much corruption. It would be easy to become apathetic. I didn't vote back in 2008. And I feel like the results of 2008 were a complete disaster, and I kind of wish I would have voted. I wish I would have registered Republican and voted for Ron Paul. And that brings me to my next point. Ron Paul said, what was the quote? Let it not be said, and this is why I vote, let it not be said that no one cared, that no one objected, once it is realized that our wealth and liberty are in jeopardy. At the end of the day, when I cast my vote for Gary Johnson in November, I will be able to say that I did all I could. You know, I did what I could to spread this message. I talked to people. I did videos like this. I posted stuff on Facebook, message boards. You know, all the stuff I talked about in that one video. What can I do to help Gary Johnson? I'll be able to say that I did all I could for my country. And when my country does finally get flushed down the proverbial toilet, I'll be able to say I did everything I could to prevent it. And I will have a clear conscience at the end of the day. And no one will be able to say it was because I was apathetic. No one will say it was because I didn't fight for the cause. Nobody will say it was because I didn't care. In the end, I did all I could. If somebody broke into your house, and I'll use this example, let's say The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, for you wrestling fans, breaks into my house. I'm not a huge fighter. I'm a small guy, 125 pounds. Then you got The Rock. I don't even know how big he is, but he's a real big guy, a professional wrestler all his life. He's trained. He knows how to fight, and I don't. If he breaks into my house, and let's say for the sake of the argument, there's no guns, there's no knives in the house, and the phones are dead, so I can't call the police. If The Rock breaks into my house and starts to beat my children, if The Rock breaks into my house and begins to force himself on my wife, just for the sake of discussion, am I going to sit in a chair and watch it happen? Am I going to say, oh, well, he's a really big guy, and I could try to fight him, but he's just going to body slam me, and I don't really want to get hurt. And what's really the point? I'm too small. I don't really know how to fight. I'm not going to bother trying. Or am I going to use every breath in my body, every thought in my mind, every feeling and passion in my soul to stop him from hurting my family? Even if it means I get seriously injured, even if it means I die, even if it means I make no impact whatsoever, my wife will still be taken advantage of, my kids will still be killed. No matter what I do, am I going to do nothing because it's not going to make an impact? Because it's not going to matter at the end of the day? Or am I going to do everything I can, even if it kills me? Even if I have to use the last breath in my body to stop this from happening? That's why I vote. That's why I get involved in this process. This is about the future of our nation. This is about our children's futures. This is about the generations to come. This is about my home. And I don't consider myself the big patriotic America is better than everyone else kind of a person, but it's my home, and I love the people here, and I love living here. And I'm going to defend it with every dying breath in my body. And if that means, waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning, walking or driving down to a polling place, and pressing a couple buttons or writing a few names on a piece of paper, I think I can make that sacrifice. If it means making a few YouTube videos, I think I can handle that. But I'm going to do everything I can to defend my home from the forces of tyranny. No matter if it counts or not, no matter if I stand a chance, no matter if my voice isn't heard, if my vote doesn't matter, the record will state that I did all that I could. No one will say that I didn't care, that I didn't object, once it is realized that my wealth and my liberties and the future of my children, my family, is in jeopardy. So that's why I vote. I hope this helps people who have the question. I understand some people are still going to say, well, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. Well, no, maybe it doesn't. But if I'm wrong at the end of the day, I don't lose a thing. If you're wrong, then we lose our nation because people like you failed to act. And again, This isn't a guilt trip. This isn't me saying you need to vote because it's your civic duty, blah, blah, blah. No. I'm just saying, for the sake of a logical discussion, it doesn't hurt to try. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. For those of you who are voting, I hope you're registered. And I hope you make it on November 6th to your polling places. Have a good day. Gary Johnson 2012, Liberty Forever.